Measures of center and spread. We're going to use this following flowchart to decide which measures of center and spread are the most appropriate to describe a data distribution. So, we have different measures of center like mean and median, and sometimes it's better to use one or the other to describe the data. We also have different ways to describe the spread of the data, mean absolute deviation or interquartile range, and there are certain times that we would want to use each of those. So the question that I'm going to ask myself to determine this is the data distribution symmetric? If it is symmetric, I'm going to go this way. If my answer is yes, I'm then going to use the mean to describe the center and the mean absolute deviation to describe the spread. Because if it's symmetric, that means it's kind of evenly spread. There aren't any huge outliers. There aren't any gaps. So the mean's going to give me an appropriate measure of center. If the data distribution is not symmetric, then I go this way. My answer is no. And I'm going to use the median to describe the center because there's most likely gaps somewhere, or there's an outlier or something like that that's not going to make the mean my best measure of center. So I want to use the median in this case. And then I'll also use the interquartile range to describe the spread. If there's an outlier, the distribution is not usually going to be symmetric. Therefore, I would be in this direction where I'd use the median. Let's look at example 3 to get an idea of exactly how this works. The line plot shows the number of states visited by students in a class. So A asks me to choose the appropriate measures to describe the center and spread of the distribution. Justify your response based on the shape of the distribution. So if I look at my line plot, I would see that my distribution is not symmetric, and there is an outlier of 19. So since it's not symmetric, if I look back at my flowchart, that's going to take me to the no, which means I would want to use the median and the interquartile range as the appropriate measures. B then asks us to write a few sentences describing the center and spread of the distribution using those appropriate measures. So I basically want to find what the median is and the interquartile range. So if I find the median of my data here, the median is 12 states. And then I can find my interquartile range by first finding my quartile 1 and quartile 3 and then subtracting them so that you would get an interquartile range of 2 states. So the data are centered around 12 states, where the median is, and the spread of the data around the center is about 2 states. Try the Got It problem below to check your understanding.